just trying to resolve this sound issue that apparently exists. But now it's apparently resolved. And again, please go to the YouTube and click subscribe. I would very much appreciate it. Anyway, how are the women in Switzerland? Cold? Yeah, dude. Switzerland. The women in Switzerland are worse than the women in America. And this is the funny thing is that like I'll tell people, don't go, don't date American girls, and then they'll be like, oh, so should I date like French girls? And it's like, no. Like, did you not understand the entire point here? The entire point here is that you don't want to deal with these incredibly like woke, progressive women. And so if you're going to Switzerland, you're literally dealing with like the worst of the American women. So don't go to Switzerland. Don't go, anywhere there. Um, Rome has fallen. Yeah, it has. Um, okay. Harry, I subscribed. I appreciate that, dude. What are the best dating sites in Brazil? So I recommend just sticking to Tinder in Brazil. There's a local site called Badu. The problem with Badu is that they have very low um like quality control on people. So like Tinder, like if people have like complaints about them, then they'll get kicked off. Badu doesn't work like that. So basically like all the who get kicked off of Tinder because they're like threatening gringos and stuff or like trying to get them killed will go to Badu. That literally happened to me. I almost got killed when I was in Rio de Janeiro my first time. And it was because, I was dating a girl who I met through Badu, and that's just a bad idea. So stick to Tinder. Um, Let me see. Um, Argentina is mainly German and Italian, but Spanish speaking. That's true. True Signal. Hey, Paulie, how are you doing? I'm doing great. Please subscribe to my YouTube. Um, in Latin America or Asia, I don't know what that means. Um, I'm just trying to. It's a shame there's just been some bad politics the past few years. Oh, that's great. Your name on YouTube is the same. Yes. But you don't even have to do that. Just go click on the link in my bio, and my YouTube will be there. Anyway, how did I meet my wife as a traveler? That's actually an interesting story. If you guys want to hear it, I made a video about it. But basically, there's a much longer story about it. But basically, I was in Brazil at the time, and I was going to. The problem with Brazil is that as an American, you can only stay for 3 months. So I was planning on doing a visa run, where I was going to go to Paraguay for a month and then come back to Brazil. And then when I got to Paraguay, my phone was blowing up like crazy. I met like a whole ton of women in Paraguay. Um, but then like I met my wife and I decided I was just gonna settle down with her. That's the thing, man. Like when you meet the one, you know it, and you're just like, yeah, I don't want to talk to anybody else. She was kind of like exactly what I wanted. Harry asks, "What's your YouTube?" But Harry, you already subscribed, so I'm guessing this is an old one. How's Bogota versus Medellin? What place do you recommend for purely passport broing? Um, this is gonna be kind of a controversial take, but I think Cambodia is a great place for pure passport broing. Um, Cambodia is a country that, like, when you go there, like literally, if you set notifications on your Tinder, your phone will actually overheat from all the matches that you're getting. That's how crazy that's how crazy Cambodia is. So I highly recommend that. The problem for me when I was in Cambodia was that like I um I was working remotely, and it was my first time working remotely in Asia. And working remotely in Asia is tough, man. Like I'm in Asia right now. That's why like it's like dark right now. And like after 3 or 4 months, it really hits you. And that's what happened to me when I was in Cambodia. So I had some pretty bad insomnia while I was there, but you know, um, I like Korea, man. But like what I would say about Korea, I, I would just go to Japan if you're going to Korea. Um, it just I think Japan gives you everything that Korea does a lot better. I think that like there are two huge benefits I think Japan has over Korea. The first one is that like Japan has like a cultural infrastructure in the United States that's recognizable to Americans, while Korea doesn't. So what I mean by that, right? Like you know, you go to places in Japan. There's just like Mario there. There's Pokemon there, right? You're like, oh, this is cool because this is like Japanese, right? There's sushi, there's teriyaki, right? There's all this stuff that you recognize, but then at the same time, Japan is a different enough country that you feel like you're in a different world, but at the same time, you have these really recognizable elements, right? The problem with Korea is that it doesn't have as much of those recognizable elements, and because of that, they'll actually even borrow from Japan. So, for example, we just went to this like indoor theme park today, me and my wife, and like you know there was Pokemon stuff everywhere because they just don't have like a Korean version of that. You know what I mean? What's the most beautiful country you have ever visited? Um, the most beautiful countries I've ever visited. Number one, I have to say Philippines is definitely every every other criticism aside. Philippines is one of the most beautiful places on planet Earth. Um, Number two, I would say Kotor, Montenegro is an incredibly beautiful place. I highly recommend that as well. Um, and then Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. I think Rio de Janeiro is actually the most beautiful city on planet Earth, like the most beautiful place. So Philippines, I think, is the most beautiful like overall, but the most beautiful like one place on Earth is Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. Is it true that Colombia is not safe for tourists? No, Colombia is safe for tourists. The people for whom it's not safe are the people who go there and like act a fool. And I include myself in that. Like I spent a month in Medellin, I acted a fool, and because of that, I got scoped, and like, all that stuff, right? But like Colombia is very can be extremely safe if you're acting reasonably, but if you're acting unreasonably like me, then it's not that safe. So that's you know all the bad stories, and I say this again as somebody who experienced it. I think a lot of those people kind of deserved what was coming to them. If that makes sense. Not I would say deserved. They just like they could have avoided it. I'm going to Tokyo March 2026. Oh, by the way, if you are scared of Colombia and you don't want to risk it, just go to Thailand. I'm going to Tokyo March 2026 to teach for a year. I'm excited. Yeah, dude, that's awesome. One of my dreams in life is to. It's gonna be very difficult for me to do it now because me and my wife are like planning to have kids. But one of my dreams is for us to go to Japan on like a 3 month visa and just go from south to north. Um, I heard about Cambodia. Yeah, dude, Japan is the fucking tits, bro. Japan, Korea is kind of like Thailand, Vietnam. So I actually disagree with it about that. I think Vietnam kind of has its own thing going on. I would say it's more of like Thailand, Cambodia, if I'm gonna be honest, as in terms of the relationship. Like Vietnam has its own cultural infrastructure there. There's very few stuff in Vietnam that even feels remotely Thai. At least I've only spent a week there, but that's my take on it. Like, versus Korea. I mean, the nice thing is they at least don't have Japanese food everywhere. It's actually difficult to find Japanese food, but besides that, it's all Japanese shit in terms of like the cultural infrastructure. What country are you in currently? I'm in Korea. I'm in Seoul, South Korea right now. That's why if you're watching on my YouTube, which by the way, everybody click the link in my bio and subscribe to the YouTube. Would very much appreciate it. I got let me see how many subscribers I got during this time. I got 7 subscribers during this conversation, so that's good. But yeah, so click on that and like subscribe, please. Thoughts on Thailand? I hear it's like Marmite. You either love it or you hate it. Um, bro, just give the thoughts of Morocco already. Dude, if uh, I'm about to go off a little bit. Like, there's so many people who ask me questions so disrespectfully. Um, like, first of all, in the chats, they'll ask me these questions disrespectfully. People will leave like disrespectful questions as comments, and then people as well will like DM me messages that I find incredibly disrespectful to the point now where like I've literally stopped responding to messages. So if you DM me, you're not getting a response. And it's literally people who are just like, oh, tell me about this place. Bro, just give the thoughts of Morocco already. Dude, I'm literally sitting here at 4 a.m. in Seoul, Korea, answering people's questions about travel that I have no obligation of doing, right? I have no obligation to do this. This actually doesn't even help my channel that much. Like, I don't earn that much money in terms of stuff. As you see, not a single person has given a motherfucking gift this entire time, right? I could castigate you for that. Hey, how about this? If you want your question answered, you want to make sure that I prioritize your question, why don't you give a gift? Mr. Cobra gave a gift. I'm gonna answer his questions. You can go fuck yourself. Because I'm not a monkey for you, bro. If I want to answer your question, I'm gonna answer your question. If I don't want to answer your question, I'm not gonna answer your question. If you want your questions answered, one, you can give a gift, or two, what you can do, I have a paid consultation link in my bio, and you can click on that and you can pay me $100 and we can sit down and I can plan your entire motherfucking trip for you. But all these assholes who are just coming into my feeds demanding free travel advice and then getting upset at me. I literally will have people, I'm just like, hey man, I just don't feel like helping you out on this one, man. I'm really busy, sorry. And then they'll just like start texting me these like screeds of like, you fat motherfucker, fuck you, you're a joke, I fucking hate you. And I'm like, bro, is this why you guys get no bitches? Is this why, Jay, you get no bitches, bro? Because you talk to people this way? Because you ask a girl out, she says, no, I'm not interested, and then you call her a dirty skank and you start screaming at her. Is is that why you get no bitches? Because I think that's why you get no bitches, motherfucker. Fuck you. It's the best opinion things about so far. It ain't deep, man. I apologize. Fuck you, retard. Um, Vila Vela easy to date. Yeah, Vila Vela is easy to date. Vila Vela, like, how should I say this? In Brazil, it's much more difficult to like, um, to go out with girls in terms of like just on Tinder. Dude, Mr. Cobra, if Mr. Cobra has any questions, I'm answering them. But yeah, Vila Vela is very easy to date if you're like, it's kind of hard to date, and Brazil as a whole is kind of tough to date for an American on like dating apps. And the reason is because Brazilian girls, they don't really jump at it the way that other girls do, because Brazilians kind of have this like cultural, like Brazilians think that they're the coolest, best, most awesome country on planet Earth, right? So they're not going after an American the same way that like a Colombian girl would, right? At the same time, if you meet Brazilian girls in person, they will 100% jump and go crazy. And so Vila Vela is very much like that. Like I was in Vila Vela. There's a much longer backstory about this, but basically, like, I was with a friend and she introduced me to one of her friends, and she was just like, he's an American. And then, literally within 5 minutes, there was like a swarm of women surrounding me when I was in Vila Vela. So yeah, you can very easily have that type of response. Mr. Cobra, um, my boy, what is your favorite Asian country? My favorite Asian country is, but I do find it funny that Jay didn't even decide to give me a gift as like an apology for acting so rude. He's just like, it's not that deep, mate. Not that deep, mate. Dude, your entire country's be overrun by Indians in 4 years. Fuck yourself. What's my favorite Asian country? Vietnam is my favorite Southeast Asian country. It's incredibly cheap. The food is unbelievable, but it's also like incredibly cheap and unbelievable at the same time. You'll have some of the best soups of your entire life in Vietnam, and like it'll be like me and my wife would go out to dinner and it'd be like $4 for the two of us. $4 to $8 for two people every single meal. So that's one of my favorites. It's also like beautiful, great beach in Da Nang. That's where you should go. If you're looking at more like an East Asian country, I don't know if you heard my whole spiel with Japan, but Japan is one of my favorite countries. It is the beautiful thing about Japan is that they just have this insane commitment to quality in Japan, where like every single person wants to do every single thing as well as possible. Like if there's a crossing guard in Japan, they are working as a crossing guard with every inch of their being. And the beauty of that is that everything is so high quality in Japan versus every other fucking country on earth where people just don't give a shit. So like because of that, also the food is so good and so cheap because you can have world class sushi, whereas if you were to go to like a mid sushi place in like LA, right, the people are skimping on things, they're not really trying. Japan, that doesn't happen. So like I would have some of the best sushi in my life. It would be like $7. So that's my the problem with Japan though is that like the hotels and the flights are very expensive, but everything else in Japan is cheap. Thoughts on traveling to Mexico and what cities do I recommend? I don't have extensive Mexico experience, so I wouldn't even start on that, to be honest. I heard Mexico City though is basically turned into LA, so you know I wouldn't do that. Travel goat, I appreciate that, dude. Yeah, how's it going, Anatoly? It's not that deep. I apologize, lol. It's the best opinion I've had. Um, dude, somebody's asking a lot of questions about Bolivia. Um, so I'm just, yo, Ronnie Lee, thanks for subscribing. So it's like one thing that happens a lot is that like I'll like go to the bottom and then it'll just like go through. So Ronnie Lee, subscribe to my YouTube. I appreciate that. Everyone else, subscribe to my YouTube, link in bio. Have you ever been to Venezuela, bro? I get this question all the time. um, pretty much every one of my lives. I think it's because I mentioned that my wife is Venezuelan. Um, no, I haven't been to Venezuela, and you should not go to Venezuela ever. At least while Maduro's there, it's incredibly dangerous. Um, just don't go. Like I speak Spanish. I have a Polish passport, so I can pass as not being American. I speak Polish as well. My wife is from Venezuela. We have family there, and I still wouldn't go to Venezuela. So if I'm not going to Venezuela, you shouldn't. Love this live. Oh, because you're half Venezuelan. I'm Mexican American. Would you date a Bolivian? The Bolivia questions. Yeah, man. I mean, I'll date. I mean, not me person right now because I'm married, but like nothing against Bolivian women. Is there a is there like a thing about Bolivian women that I'm not? Are you like talking to a Bolivian and you're just not sure? Um, yeah, they're pretty, man. They're pretty indigenous though, kind of like Peruvian women. So you do have to if you're into that, you're into that. Most other Latinas make jokes about Peruvian girls, which I think kind of it ends up being kind of mean, but but they make a lot of jokes about yeah. Host a group trip somewhere. One of one says host a group trip somewhere. That's actually a good idea. So I will be in Latin America in December. So I'm gonna be in Asuncion in December. I might host like a group meetup or something. But one, I do want you to subscribe to my YouTube channel though before we have more conversations. But I would really appreciate if you did that. But yeah, why don't we shoot for like why don't we shoot for like January? We'll do January in Asuncion. You can be in charge of organizing it. Gonna end up on a gore set. I've watched a lot of your videos, man, and saved a lot as well. I want to say thank you. Yeah, man. I appreciate that. Maybe will plus one country to visit. Um, Subscribe to YouTube. Should Jay visit for Venezuela, asking for entertainment purposes only? Yeah, dude, that'd be hilarious. The people like Jay, like I don't know if he's still on here, but like people like Jay, man, like these are people you can tell have never gotten the shit kicked out of them in high school. Like people like Jay are kids that like you can tell went to like a really posh private high school where like if anybody where you can say anything to anybody, you can talk disrespectfully to teachers, you can talk disrespectfully to your parents, you can say whatever you want. And he probably works as like a management consultant right now and like hates his life but doesn't understand why. Knows that it's his parents' fault but doesn't really understand the reason why it's his parents' fault. And the reason why he hates his life is because he just, never got the shit kicked out of him, I think. Um, I think ass beatings are a really important part of life. They can really instruct you on the way to treat other people. Um, but anyway, I think it'd be hilarious if we went to Venezuela, but he is today. We hear you. Um, any other questions? Let me see if I'm gonna see if he's still on, and if he's not still on, I'm gonna talk about Morocco. Okay, he's off. Um, so yeah, so Morocco. I was in. So by the way, like I know this is kind of like a shameless plug, but this is actually the reason why I want to do this on my YouTube page because like literally what I can do with my YouTube page right now, like if you guys go to my YouTube live right now, what I can do is I can open up a screen share, I can do a screen share of Morocco, right? And I could be like, stay here, stay here, stay here, stay away from here, stay away from here, stay away from here. Right. So it can be a lot more interactive. It can be and give you a lot more like specific information versus me just kind of talking generalities. So that's why I'm trying to move to YouTube. So again, I know I'm keep on pitching this stuff, but please go please go subscribe to the YouTube. We're at 57. We haven't got any subscribers in the past couple of minutes, in the past 10 minutes or so. So hopefully we can get some more soon. But hopefully people subscribe. You subscribe. I appreciate that. Host a group trip somewhere. Dude, I just oh no. I'm looking at an old comment. That's why. Um it's in his TikTok bio. Um yeah, dude. So subscribe to my YouTube, link in bio. Just click on that link and you'll get to it. The problem, so the reason why I don't give you the name of the YouTube is because right now it has 57 subscribers, and what I found is that if your YouTube has less than like 1,000 subscribers, people can literally search for the name of your YouTube channel exactly, and they won't find it. Like I had a channel with like 300 subscribers, and like my friends would want to follow me, and they would literally click at and write it down word for word and they couldn't find it. So that's why I'm just like, there's a link in the bio, click on that link and you'll get there. Is Rio safe for solo travelers? I'm going on Wednesday. Yeah, it's safe for solo travelers. The one thing I would say though, man, about like Rio de Janeiro and Medellin as well is that like, you know, if keep a good head on your shoulders, right? Don't, especially if you're a solo traveler, don't never be blackout in Rio de Janeiro, right? Um, you know, watch your step. You're gonna have a lot of people who are trying to like steal money from you, kill you, kidnap you. Like that will exist in Rio de Janeiro, but like it's not like everybody. It's just like if you meet the wrong people, you can get fucked. Right. But if you meet the right people, you'll be fine. So just stay away from the wrong people. One of the best ways to know if you're in a bad situation is like just ask yourself, like, is this too good to be true? You know what I mean? Like if you ever get an offer that's just too good to be true, it probably is. Like when I almost got killed in Rio de Janeiro, it was because like there were these two twin sisters who were 18 who wanted to do the white stuff with me and then, sleep with each other. And like I was just like horny and like, greedy. And I was like, yeah, let's do this. And then like what happened? It was just like they were clearly trying to set me up. You know what I mean? It's a much longer story than that. But again, like if it's too good to be true, it is. So just look out for that. Um, hey, how's it going? Council of Trent. Appreciate you joining. Um, what do you recommend for passive income on a USD $20,000 fund? Dude, if I could answer that question to you, I wouldn't be hawking people to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would just have so much money that I would just be, sitting on a beach. I wouldn't be doing a TikTok live at 4 o'clock in the morning to try to get people to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So I'm not the person to answer any sort of financial questions. That's not my forte. So, somebody just subscribed. I appreciate that, dude. Thanks a lot. Came from the TikTok, different name. Thanks, dude. We got people joining. We got people joining here. You know what I'm gonna do, man? Council of Trent. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna give this deep dive of Marrakesh. Let's do this. I'm not gonna do like a full deep dive. I'm just gonna do a little bit of a deep dive. But you guys should be able to see what you're missing out on right now. I mean, you'll also be able to hear it, but I'm gonna talk about like broad strokes over here. Oh fuck. Okay, so apparently I actually have to quit and reopen. Oh, Google Maps. So Council of Trent right now is looking at my screen. So I mean, you guys can you've got to pick up a map of Marrakesh as well. But you're right over here, El Hardin Street, Kutubia, El Badi. Over here is called I forgot what it's called actually. Marrakesh Historic Area. Let's just see if I can. It's called the Medina. The Medina is like the very tourist area that everyone goes to. This is, you have the sardine tubes. This is all the history stuff. And I think the beautiful thing about Marrakesh, I was there for a month, and like, you can do the history stuff like one or two. You can do it for like an hour or so. You know what I mean? So like, if you're staying there for a month, you can do like, hey, I'm just gonna go look at some history, and then I can go back, right? The problem with this whole area is for like long-term stays or even short-term stays is the first thing is it's incredibly expensive because that's where all the tourists are. But then two, another problem with it is that you literally like walking down the street in Marrakesh sometimes feels like being like a hot woman at like a Star Wars conference. You know what I mean? Like every single person is trying to talk to you. Every single person is like asking for your number, all this type of stuff, right? And by that I mean like you literally just have hawkers just like coming up to you. I literally had one hawker who was just like stalking me. He literally came out to me. He was just like, "Hey man, come to my store." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll go there later." He like drove by on his motorcycle later. He's like, "Hey man, I just found you. Like, why aren't you at my store?" I was like, "Bro, like, what the fuck?" Anyway, that's this area over here. The place that I stayed is this area called Gueliz. For people who are watching on my TikTok, Gueliz, and this place is the shit. So I was over here, Rue. I think it was Rue Ibn Atia. There's an Airbnb there, and it is just an incredibly beautiful, incredibly safe place. Okay, this is a problem because you can't. There's no street view apparently. Was this my street? No, this is the other street over. Anyway, that was Rue. This is where I was staying. You have a lot of like really nice shops over here as well, and you have this Carrefour market over here that you can stay at. Oh wow, fuck yeah, we're at 3 viewers now. We're 3 viewers on the YouTube live. We're doing this, guys. We're migrating to YouTube. Dude, the problem with TikTok, man, is that it's way too up and down, and so that's honestly the main reason why I'm switching to YouTube. But anyway, um, so yeah, that's this area right over here. If you guys, if you know, this is where I'd stay. You have this Carrefour Market. It's incredibly cheap, incredibly convenient, and that's kind of the 1,000 feet view of Marrakesh. If you guys wouldn't mind just liking this YouTube, if you liked my Marrakesh lowdown, and let me answer some more questions. Um, um, so True Signal asks, "Is that on YouTube? This sounds like a very interesting story." It's not on my YouTube, but it's actually to make another plug. I'm trying not to plug this right now, but I will eventually. It's on my Substack. So if you go again to the same link in bio, you click on my Substack, it is on there. I have kind of moved away from doing Substack right now, but I'm going to be doing it more in the future. So that's when I'm going to start plugging it a lot more. But I have the whole story of me and that girl, her and her friends trying to kill me on my Substack. So if you're interested, go there, click subscribe. But the number one thing I'm pushing right now is my YouTube link in my bio. Um, how about we set a goal? Yeah, dude. So my goal right now for my YouTube is 60. If I get to 60 in the next 15 minutes, I'd be very happy. So why don't we set that as a goal? We're at 58. So can two people who are on here? I know that two people on here have not subscribed to my YouTube because there are 12 people on here. And when I started this live, I was at 50 subscribers. So that means that at best, if only 8 of you subscribed, you know, we should have, other people there. So two other people, click subscribe to YouTube. um, what's the address? It's on my link in my bio. So it's not like that I don't want to tell about the Brazilian twins. Okay, how about this? Put a one in the chat if you guys want to hear the Brazilian twin story. Uh, and I can tell you that the Brazilian twin story. But again, like, how about this? Just one person. So give me ones in the chat, and then just one person click subscribe to this YouTube. We're at 58. I just need one person to click subscribe. Can we get one subscriber from this chat? You'll hear a cool story about Brazilian twins. I'm refreshing. That's what I need right now. Appreciate it. Dude, Ismail is quickly turning into my boy. We're at 58 right now. Can we get two more? Yeah, you're already subscribed. Okay. Well, I'll just fucking talk about it. Before I do, have I been to Vietnam? Yes. Vietnam is my number one country in Southeast Asia that I recommend going to. Okay, we're at 59. Awesome. Now, you guys gave me a little bit what I need. I'm going to give you what you need. So, the story with the Brazilian twins. Oh, fuck. People dropped off. That's fine. Whatever. So, the story with the Brazilian twins is that I just started my trip around the world about 2 months before. I spent a week in Costa Rica. I spent a month in Medellin. Um, I think I slept with like 50 women in a month in Medellin. And then I spent 2 weeks in Poland with my grandma because it's a long story. She's old, and I just wanted to see her just in case she died while I was traveling. And then so I landed in Rio de Janeiro, and I was just going crazy in terms of like swiping and stuff. So literally my second morning, I matched with this girl on on Badu, which is like the Brazilian Tinder. And we made plans to meet up that night at like a Brazilian barbecue place, or a Brazilian like a rodizio place. And she ended up being like 45 minutes late. And so she texted me. She was like, "Hey, where you're at?" And I'm like, I'm at home. Like I left when you're late 10 minutes. I'm not sticking around. And by the way, that's a piece of advice that's really important when dealing with Latinas in general is like you need to put your foot down on that type of behavior. Like part of the reason why they do that is in order to test your limits. And then they'll gaslight you and they'll be like, "Oh, it's just because I'm Latina, we're always late," which is true to an extent, but it's not that it's in like it's a thing that everybody does in order to test your limits. So you need to like be very clear that you do not accept that type of behavior. That type of behavior is not accepted. So also they find it really hot. So when I did that, the next day I went to this Michelin star restaurant called Oro. I went by myself just because it was my third day in Rio, and so I met this girl who's also going to Oro by herself. We were talking, and she was like, "Yeah, you should probably text that girl back because it is very normal for girls to be late." So I texted her back. We made plans for 3 days later, or like however much time it was. And so um, I had to go to a soccer game beforehand. It was a Brazilian soccer game. So I ended up being like 15 minutes late. And so I arrived and it was her and then this other girl and then this guy who was like from Russia. And it turned out that like the two girls were twins. And the guy from Russia was like their friend. And like looking back on it, I think the dude might have been their pimp or something. So we're like having lunch and having dinner, and they immediately pull out Molly. And so we're doing Molly, we're doing all that stuff. We're drinking by the beach. We leave the restaurant to go drink by the beach, having a great time. And then she tells me she's like, "Hey, by the way, I am a um, I'm not sure what words I'm allowed to say on TikTok, but she's like, I'm a lady of the night." And I was like, I made a video in the past. Maybe I should make another video about stealthitudes. This is a common thing that happens in Latin America where you'll have women um, who like will match with you on Tinder and act like it's a date, and then at the end of the date will ask you for money. And you need to put your foot down on this. You don't negotiate with terrorists, right? At the very least, if you're willing to pay, you're gonna get a much better deal. But the reason why they do this is because it's something called a sunk cost fallacy, right? They're like, this guy has spent his entire Friday night with me. If he wants to get laid at this point, it's like 1 a.m., he's going to need to pay. Even if he leaves here and doesn't want to pay me, he's going to have to pay somebody because at this point, how is he going to arrange this at this point? Even if he goes to a club, by the time he gets to a club, it's be 1:30, and all the girls have already like matched up with guys, right? So that's why they do it, right? And so what you need to do is you need to realize in your head, like, yes, it's a sunk cost fallacy for me, but it's actually a sunk cost fallacy for you too, because you're not going to get any clients at this hour. You're not, right? So you're not going to be making any money either. And so if you do want to go through with it, you need to negotiate. But my position at that point in my life was like, I'm not negotiating the situation. This is, um, I want to say immoral, but like just like bad business ethics, right? So I was like, hey, that's fine. I'm not going to pay for it. So I guess I should just leave. And she's just like, why would you leave? There's me, my twin sister, we're on a beach, we're doing drugs, we're drinking. Like, I was like, you make a really good point. Like, why would I leave? Even though we're not gonna sleep together, this is a pretty awesome situation to be in. So we stay on the beach, and then at like 12, I'm like, okay, I have work tomorrow, I have to go. And she's like, so like I was like, I'm gonna make one last stand to get this for free. So I'm like, hey, like, why don't you just come back to my place and give me a massage? But I'm just letting you know, I'm not paying. So if you want payment, it's not happening. So, she's like, okay, fine. She comes back to my place. I give her a massage. We sleep with each other. She goes back to her friends. At the end of the week, there's some situations. It's a long story again. Like if you go to my Substack, you can read the whole story. But basically, she wanted to hang out. I was like, I'm busy right now. I gotta do some work. She got really angry at me. She blocked me. So I sent her a message through like a burner account that I had where I was just like, hey, like, I'm sorry, like, whatever. But like, I did have to work. I wasn't ignoring you. So the next day she texted me back. She's like, hey, I unblocked you. I'm really sorry about blocking you. I was just like really upset about that. So what happened was, you know, I have terrible ADHD. So I was like, you know, I needed Adderall in order to finish this project, but you can't really get Adderall in Brazil. It's much easier to get Yay. So I asked her if she knew where to get it. Her and her sister came over. I was literally just doing it to finish this project, but her and her sister came over, and then they tried to do this like scam on me, where like the dealer pretended to not get the money, and so, but like I knew that he got the money because I saw it on my end that he got the money. So looking back on it, I should have probably just canceled it on my end afterwards, but um, one thing led to another. The dealer threatened to kill me, and then that was it. But I think they were setting me up from the start because she texted me a picture of me and the drugs later on that night when she was trying to extort me, and I was just like, if you took this picture before this whole thing happened of me doing the drugs in order to prove that I did it, like you probably had some bad intentions from the start. I think she was just pissed that she gave it, she was a lady of the night and she gave it for free, and so I think she wanted some money, from it. Yeah, the girls knew where I lived. Like that's what I say about being an idiot. Like I was an idiot. I had to leave. I went to a hotel. I got another apartment in Rio de Janeiro, in Centro, and then I stayed there. Um, let's see. Um, how is the visa application process for Vietnam? I'm gonna answer these questions quickly, then go back to the story. Pretty easy. Give yourself a week, maybe 2 weeks, but it's no problem at all. Is Rio actually that easy to pick up girls? It is, but again, you're gonna get some some bad situations like that. um, Badu to me, Brazilian baddies. Got it. 304. Socially expected payment. Yeah. A man that's attractive doesn't need to do a whole econ equation to get women. Um, Dude. Uh, okay. Great. You're I don't even want to like refute that. So they called the Russians, dude. Here's the thing: you're not getting a woman like that, you know. Um, Even if you're attractive, it's not happening. But anyway, let me guess. They called the Russian. They did, and the Russian did this thing where he was like trying to pretend to be my friend, and he was like, I was like, "Hey man, this seems like a scam," and he was like, "What are you talking about? This is a scam. This is I swear on my honor as a Russian that this is not a scam." And I was like, "I don't know, dude. Like Russians don't really have a reputation for being that honorable. Like I don't know what you're talking about, dude." So then he got angry at me. I was kind of provoking the bear a little bit, but I did get out of there alive, which is like, the most important thing. Um, One. Yo, John Calvin, how's it going, man? Thanks for joining. This is a dude who was like supporting this channel back in my second week. I remember this dude was supporting me. I really appreciate it, dude. Um, what's better in your opinion if you already know Spanish, Paraguay or Colombia? Um, I think so. How should I say this? Colombia is like one of the most beautiful places on planet Earth, which is kind of the problem with it. Is that like there's so many positive reasons to go there that like it's kind of hard to like not go there. You know what I mean? Paraguay is a little bit dull, I would say. Paraguay is a place that you go to like raise a family. You know what I mean? Like you go there when you're like in your mid 30s, or you go to just pick up a bunch of random women, right? But like I say that Paraguay is the most livable place in the world, and part of the reason why is because it's one of the least Instagrammable places in the world. Like you will not post anything on your Instagram in Paraguay because there's no beautiful scenes, no beautiful anything, right? Colombia, you literally just walk down the street and you're like, holy shit, this is gorgeous. So you know, send him to Venezuela with Jay. Yeah, dude, I should. I should start giving dangerous travel advice to people who piss me off. Uh, where do you like to visit in Colombia? Where should I start? Is there anything to see in Bogota? Okay. Where do you like to visit in Colombia? If I were to like go to Colombia long term right now, it would probably be in what's it called? Bogota. I would not go to I wouldn't go to Medellin. I made a lot of videos about this. You guys can just like watch those videos, but it's just kind of a precarious situation right now. But all right, so I've been doing this for like an hour and a half. I appreciate everybody who joined. I appreciate everybody who especially joined on my YouTube. As I said, we're gonna be doing a lot more YouTube stuff. Actually, here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna do the last 15 minutes of this live just on YouTube. So anybody who's watched this live, who's enjoyed it so far, go to my YouTube. I'm gonna be continuing this live there. You can go watch it then. Hop off right now. We're continuing this YouTube live for everybody on my YouTube. I'm gonna be doing this for every one of my lives just to kind of push people to my YouTube page. So in like a minute or two, I'm gonna be hopping off here and going to YouTube. Yeah, dude. It's only a Peruvian woman for me. Um, yeah, I mean that's a weird take. Somebody's like, it's only Peruvian food. It's only Peruvian women for me. That's like if somebody's like, you know, yeah, dude, definitely. All right, so we're continuing the live right now. The Brazilian twin story was worth it. Yeah, dude. If you guys want to read the whole story, it's on my Substack. As I said, like I've been, dude. Dan left TikTok to join me here. We're at 5 right now. Awesome. So I'm gonna be hopping in like a second, but where in Bogota do we go? That's actually great that Dan asked that question because I'm about to open up the map and I'm going to show you guys where in Bogota do you go. But again, everybody who's on here right now, subscribe to my YouTube, link in bio, and then also I'm jumping off right now. I'm going to be continuing this live on my YouTube for the next 15 minutes. Awesome, guys. Give me 1 second. Oh, wow. All right, let's do this. I'm going to put on my headphones so the audio becomes a little bit better. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? All right. Apparently, there's an issue with the video right now, but we're gonna go through it. Awesome. So, where should I go in Bogota? I'm gonna try this again, and if it freezes again, then I'm going to just. We're just gonna. Why go through the hassle? All right, so this is Bogota. Just so you guys know, it's been a while this has been to Bogota. So, there's only, I like take whatever I say with a grain of salt, just because oh, si entiende bien. Things could have changed in here, but this is really the best place that you want to go. I'm not sure if it's still as cheap as it was when I was there, but it's called Zona G. It's the gastronomical zone in Bogota, and this is a place with all the nice restaurants. And because of that, it's a yo. I actually remember I was texting a girl literally at this corner over here, but that's a story for another day. But if you look around here, it's like the nice thing about this is that it's a very like I would say I'm not sure if upscale is the right word for it, but like upscale might be the right word for it. But at least it's like safe. Let's see if it's still as cheap as it was when I was there. Um, so this is one thing that that I always do in order to like see how cheap stuff is. Right, is I'll literally just like go to I look at their menu. So February 2022, so there's probably been some inflation, but Colombian. I forgot the. So let's see this. Filete de pollo con spaghetti, 26,000. Yeah, so $6. That's pretty cheap, right? Um, and again, like these are the nicest restaurants in Colombia. So 42,000. Let's look at this. How much is 42,000? Yeah, so that's $10, right? For this looks like an actual like real sit down, location. So I think that this area is still pretty cheap, right? Because this menu is from 2024, right? Um, let's see. Like, by the way, isn't this so much better to be able to like look at my screen while I go through this stuff? I just think it's so much more interactive and so much more interesting. Anyway, let's go to Bogota, Colombia. Okay, I need to share this screen window. I'll change all these settings soon. All right, so I'm pretty sure you guys are aware of my general rule that like if you're going abroad, you should stay for a month, right? If you're able to, right? If you're obviously not able to. So K68, that's yeah, so that's right in the heart of Zona G. So because I'm in Korea, it's in Korean won. So this is 1.7 million to US dollars. So that's about 1200. Okay, so that's expensive. But this is a million. And then let's see this. Korean won to US dollars. How much is a million? Okay, so this place over here is $700. I can't share my window, so I'm just gonna be actually let's see if I can do that. Yeah, I can't share my window right now. Um so let's share this. So this kitchen is a little small. The dining area is a little small. And I think the dining area, yeah, the dining area is in the bedroom. So I think this might be a studio that's yeah, so this is definitely a studio that's masquerading as like a full apartment, but it's $700 for a month, which is not that bad. I'll share my window just fine. Yeah, no, I'm trying to share the full window. It's fine. Um, so that I can share each tab. So, but here, let's look at this place. Okay, so if just off the bat, like if I was to stay a month in Bogota, just doing this amount of research, this seems like the spot. Your desk kind of sucks. That might be a bit of a problem, but then you can work on this couch if you need to. This I've seen a bunch of these showers. These showers are pretty good. Um, one big red flag is if a Airbnb always has a lot of shots of the outside, then that's a red flag. Okay. One thing that's important when you're looking at Airbnbs is you want to see the relation between one room to another, because if hosts are not willing to like show you how oh, you can't hear the audio. Can nobody hear the audio? Here, let me try this. Can you guys hear the audio better now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me better now? Um, can you hear me now? Can you guys hear me now? Okay, cool. Yeah, so one thing that's really important when you're looking at Airbnbs is to look at the relation of like how the apartment, like how the rooms interact with each other, right? What I mean by this is I'm a remote sales rep. So the reason why is because a lot of hosts will kind of like screw you over with that. What they'll do, like we literally had this happen to us in Bali, and I had this red flag, and I looked past it. Is like they literally we had our apartment, and then the kitchen was a shared kitchen with other people outside of our apartment, right? And like they had this beautiful picture of a kitchen, they had a beautiful picture of the bedroom, but they never showed the kitchen, like the view from the bedroom to the kitchen, right? And that's always a huge red flag, right? So right over here, the reason I'm pointing that out is right over here. You see, look, here's the bedroom, here's the living room, but with this demarcation and with the size of the thing, this is basically a one bedroom, I'd say. And again, it's in a really nice area. So if you guys are looking to stay in Bogota, like this place seems like a good place. I wouldn't go to any place that's more than a million won, which is like $700. This place also seems pretty nice. It's a little small, but you see you have the better room over here. One big red flag is if they never show you the size of the bedroom. So this might literally just be like a closet that you go to sleep in. Um, and again, whenever they show you way too many exterior shots, that's always a negative. The more exterior shots, the more negative it is. So yeah, so and guest favorite, never consider this. Sublease a 3 bedroom, 1 bath condo in Medellin. It's a year old and pretty modern. I don't know, maybe like 1500 dollars a month, something like that. Um, um, probably, probably, yeah. I mean, like getting good Wi-Fi is really important for me because of the income job. There are a couple of amenities that are pretty important to me because of that. So it would definitely make my life a lot easier. So this is actually one of the reasons why I'm spending so much time building out this TikTok and now building out this YouTube is that I'm hoping to I'm hoping to be able to use this as like a source of income in the future. Um so that I don't have to do my laptop job anymore and I can just like focus on traveling, which would be really nice. But yeah, so that's this is the area that you want to stay in Bogota. It's called Zona G, gastronomical zone. One thing that you want to do as well, the museums are actually pretty nice in Bogota. Again, I have nothing but positive things to say about Bogota. Um, where is so there's this place called Montserrat. It's really really cool. If you look at over here, you can see share this. This is Montserrat. You pay for like a cable car to go up here, and then you um You have all this like cool, like, I would say indigenous Colombian stuff, but like, traditional Colombian stuff. This is where the cable car is. Um, and yeah, it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous place to go look at the rest of the city. If you are looking to, I forget what Oro is. I remember not really enjoying it that much. So if you're looking to be a degenerate, um, I wouldn't recommend staying in Candelaria, but like Candelaria is kind of like the what's it called? The El Poblado of Bogota. Um, and if you look at over here, this is where you're gonna get all of the women of the night are gonna be here. Um, I forgot exactly where. I think it's in Cali 7, if I remember correctly. Cali 7. This is kind of where that goes. Yeah, my basic pitch on Bogota is that like Medellin is kind of like Vegas, right? And Vegas is a place that you can go for like a week. I mean, Vegas, you want to go for like 4 days, but Medellin is a place you can go for a month, maybe. I went for a month. I had a great time, but like you don't want to live in Las Vegas. You know what I mean? Bogota is like a place that you can actually like live in. Um, but yeah, awesome. Well, thanks so much, guys, for jumping on this YouTube. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna go head out, but I'm gonna start doing these lives on YouTube pretty regularly. So, you know, come on, come on down. I appreciate everybody. Thanks for everybody for subscribing. Talk to y'all later.